great seeing you guys here today. You know, Mike, I've had you here at the chair as well, and this is great seeing you again.
Word, word.
And AZ, you know, it's great seeing you first time on the chair here as well. Glad that you can make it. I know you're a busy guy. You got so much international stuff going on out there, but you know what? I appreciate you being here as well. And so we're going to get into this thing and just get started. And I like to, again, say thank you all for being here. We can be
Thank you.
candid, we could be straight. This is the chair. This red
Yeah,
seat, as you see, it's a red seat. That means the hot seat, but we won't get into too many hot things today. We're all about entertainment and
right.
talking about your craft and what you guys do out there when people don't see you. But that's good. I'm glad you're here. And again, this is a way to be heard. And
Hmm.
so we'll get started, and I'll talk to I'll start with AZ, and again, Mike, we can conversate, or I can come back to you. You can go back to AZ, but
It's all good.
but either way, we'll go with this. So AZ, starting out,
Yes,
how long you been
sir.
in Germany? What are you doing with the craft here in Germany? How long has it been?
Yeah. 2001, of course, when I first got here,
Wow.
military.
Okay.
Dug in real quick, kind of caught on pretty fast, and got acquainted with the community, and found some stuff to get into. Found some brothers and some sisters, and some creative folks, and found some ground, and haven't looked back since. So
Okay.
doing a lot with art and creativity, communication, with the kids, and focusing on the fabric, and yeah, basically seeing how we can share a little bit of authentic cultural representation here overseas.
Right. Well, that's a good thing, man. You gotta you mentioned kids. That's important. They need role models out there, and that's great that you're dealing with kids and getting them involved with so many different things. The community, as you were, the community is always important. And
Absolutely.
even though we're away from home, but community is worldwide. And I think
Most definitely.
when you get yourself and you have something to put out there and you do your craft really well, it attracts people, and that's a good thing. And Mike, I'm not,
Yo,
the thing with you, you can see your background. You got all kinds of stuff going on back there. You
it's a
got
little corner of a
yeah,
studio, you know
yeah,
what I'm saying?
you straight. You're always on your craft. You always go. So
Hey, you only live once. You
you
know
only
what I
live
mean?
once. You're right about that. So I know you and we tried to get together because during the Black History Month, but I know
Right.
you're a busy man. Things are going on, and you being a black DJ and producer, artist here in Europe, Germany, specifically here in Germany. So just your experience with that, and then how do you maneuver that? Do you have resistance out there when you're doing your craft, or what happens with that?
Well, basically, when it comes down to Black history, I try to make history every day. So Black history, I'm black. So Black
Right,
history is every day for
right.
me, every day, every year, every month. But no, there's no resistance. It's all about teaching, basically. The resistance may be there. For instance, I played in a Russian club the other day, and they wanted to hear Russian music, but I did it for a friend because the DJ that I replaced was from Ukraine, and there's a lot of madness going on over there. He was trying to get his people out of there.
Right.
And I did a favor for him. I went down there and played the music in Frankfurt, and the bartender was tripping, you know, and whatnot. And after the end of the night, just to go to show you that I prevailed, I played the music, the people danced, they had a good time. I didn't play no Russian music, and he just put me in a category, made that be that category that the other guy was black or he was just a sorry DJ. He couldn't prevail. You see, he couldn't prevail, but yet he started commending me and
Right.
giving me thumbs up. But he was dissing me in the beginning. So if you're
Wow.
talking about any kind of resistance, yes, because I'm black, I got dreadlocks. I came in there, a Russian owned club, and doing a favor for somebody out of
Hmm.
goodwill. And at the same time, I was being dissed. And the normal person, yes, the normal person would
Right.
have found that just enough to make them mad and say, look, I'm packing up my stuff and I'm going home.
Okay.
But I
Well,
stayed, of course, and I kept on playing. I humored with the guy, kept telling him, bring the drinks, you know what I'm saying? And keep it going, I'll make it happen. And I made it happen, and it had a good time, so it was good
well,
to go.
yeah, and you know what? And that's good. You said keep it going, and those challenges like that, you face dealing with
You
different
can't give up.
cultures and different people, how they see you and things like that. And that's a great point. You just keep it moving because
You know,
sometimes
but the
you
key thing is, don't mean to cut you off. The key thing is basically being proud of yourself and knowing what you can do. And don't let
exactly,
nobody put no shame or no doubt in your mind. You know what I'm
exactly
saying?
right. And AC, and so Universal Brothers, I got a tip on that's part of the organization that you're still working with, or and I heard you
Yep.
had a thing called Airbrush Army as well. So give me
Mhm.
some history on the Universal Brothers. That sounds like a big thing going on when you say Universal.
It's a lot. And a lot of it has, I mean, I'm gonna kind of piggyback off of what Mike was saying.
Right.
Um, culturally, and not even like necessarily on some separatist kind of vibe, but there's a certain humility and maturity that comes with being culturally embedded and having like a rich background and being compassionate people,
Okay.
right?
Okay. Right.
Being in that space and like being in this space of compassion, because at the end of the day, this is where creativity springs from. This is
Wow.
where like
Yeah.
this energy of being so zestful and open and kind of being connected to like
Right.
the universal language of music and connection and vibration and people.
Right.
We, in a way, we are at the forefront of that particular movement. Where when we come through, there's like somewhat of like cultural leaders.
Wow.
And in being a leader, compassion is necessary.
That's great.
Like an
Yeah.
older brother,
Very important.
when no doubt when your siblings is a little less mature or less evolved, or they're intimidated or want to hate on you, or whatever the case may be, it's
Right.
necessary for you to take the high road and be
Exactly.
creative
Right.
and do the work and be accepting and loving and
Or
keep going, like you said,
Okay.
where this is where you set the example for those who may have this immaturity or fear or intimidation or try to suppress your energy, where
Right.
you set the tone by continuing to do your thing. And that
Mm,
kind of goes back to what it is that we do.
okay.
Uh, coming through, enjoying ourselves, being cool, being compassionate and empathetic and accepting of the people around us. We recognize that we are influenced. It's just that when that influence is so powerful and so vibrant, people can easily become intimidated by
Right.
your energy. And that
Exactly.
intimidation causes like competition and fear because they like you. It's just that if they enjoy you and you have a like you have a low vibrational attitude, that can easily turn against you. Where if you're welcoming, you show the nature of the creativity that you do have, which has its foundation in love and
That's
mhm,
great.
acceptance. Yeah,
Yeah.
we are vibrant
That's good.
right.
and
Well,
we
and
love
that's a
people.
good point you say, being vibrant like that, coming out, people see you, people have questions, people want to know what you're doing. They heard of your, good deeds, you know, and
Yeah.
Mike, and the same
Yeah.
thing you talk about those challenges. So some of the places you've been in Europe, so when what have you experienced? What's your best experience you've had being in Europe and whatever countries that you've traveled to and other projects that you've had to where you've like said dealt with the youth, just teachings. How far do you go with your craft? I mean, do you give classes? Do you sell
Well,
music? What give me some history on that.
well, we had the meeting of the minds with the Zulu Nation, Universal Zulu Nation, Germany, and when there's a Zulu thing, or when there's not even a Zulu thing, but there's Zulu members there, and let's say, for instance, I'll give you an example. When we went to Chemnitz, Rockstadt, Potsdam, Leipzig, Dresden,
Wow.
I went there because when I went there, I was on tour, and basically with various peoples like Curtis Blow, Grandmaster Flash, African Bambaataa. People used to tell me about those places that they were like the old Eastern Bloc, and
Okay.
that, you know, is DDR, you know what I'm saying? And you got to
Right.
watch out for skinheads, and
Okay.
you got to
Yeah.
watch out for this one and that one. Well, it wasn't even like that. Now, I don't know if I would have went to a techno party, it might have been like that, because something similar to like that. But when I went to a hip hop event, all the events was hip hop. We were performing, and the youth embraced it.
Okay.
And I was shocked to see. I already was shocked before when I seen how the youth on this side, the west side, actually embraced it. But you seen the break dancers, you seen the clothes they wore, you seen the graffiti writers, you seen the style of graffiti that they was doing, which would bring back memories from back in the 70s when I was writing on the wall. So I was like, wow, okay. Even the style of the lettering traveled from 1970 to 1998,
Hmm.
1997, so on,
Right.
94, 95 when I was over there. So
Okay.
what I'm saying is I was always shocked and happy. I was always willing to talk to the kids and tell them to keep on doing what you got to do, but stay in school and learn. You can still do your craft, you can still do your artwork, you can do whatever you want to, because now, from that point to now, graffiti is legal in some areas, which is a
Okay.
great thing. You
Right.
can't beat that. There's no harm done. There's no vandalism going on. And if it is, it's okay. They choose to write somewhere where they're not allowed to, but they can write. They can buy the paint and write, and it's free. No cops is banging them on the head, and that's a beautiful thing. So to embrace the culture, and for all the kids from everywhere and the youth to embrace the MCing, the b-boying, the graffitiing, and the DJing, then that's a beautiful thing. And
Yeah.
I'm loving it. I suck it up like a sponge.
Right. You know, I've been traveling around and I see graffiti all over the walls and different places, and I'm always looking at it like, how can I translate that stuff? You know, it's always so
You gotta take your time and
interesting.
read letter for letter.
Right. And even in some areas out there, you're like, how did they get up there to do that? You know, when do they have time to put that on a bridge, top of a bridge on the side? You know, so it's
Now
always interesting.
that's called being daring
Okay.
and basically diligent to the point that you want your stuff to be seen. You know
Right.
that nobody's gonna get up there and paint that over. Not no time soon.
Exactly. Right.
So you
Right.
put that there. But it's courageous. It's very courageous because there's a lot of people that lost their lives doing courageous stuff.
I could imagine. So, AZ, so your best part of your work here overseas, give us
Mhm.
a history on that, and you know where have we seen your work and didn't even know it was you guys, Universal Brothers, out there. So, w- what's your best
We,
stuff?
I mean, okay, so like the best, as far as from my perspective,
Right.
it's been doing things within the community, like youth centers, the juvenile halls, and the rec centers, and all that. Like us airbrushing and stuff on corners. Of course, we started doing graffiti over there by the Slough Hall. That's how me and my crew met,
Ah,
and
okay.
yeah, kind of like took that into our own hands and integrated ourselves into the community. Now, one of the things, and I'm gonna make this short, but one of the things that I appreciated about being here is the fact that we were uh, like boots on the ground ambassadors to what
Okay.
they admire and inspire to be, as far as the influences from the States, music and so on and so forth. It's just
Okay.
that we was the young OGs in the
Ah,
street,
I
where
see.
when it came to graffiti and writing and the hip hop culture, I appreciated that everything was together here in Germany. It's just that what we were able to do was
Okay.
to operate as ambassadors and actually talk to the kids and talk to them about what cool was in person, what
Right.
hip hop was about in person versus what they saw on MTV or any other mainstream platform.
Okay.
Where the greatest thing that I've been able to do, at least from what I've seen, is the eyes of the kids and how amazed they were as far as the influence. And I mean, come on, like we weren't necessarily like rich. We catch the bus to some of our venues and so on and so forth, but the things we were able to do and the
Right.
camaraderie and the acceptance that the kids felt when we came to Hadersheim or like these little towns and actually appreciated them and
Okay.
communicated them the nature of cool. It wasn't about you being from New York or LA or ATL or whatever the case may be. It was about you accepting yourself and being proud of who you are, where you from. This is
Word.
the essence of cool. And we were able to share that with the kids. And of course, that translated into some of the products, the t-shirts and body paint and tattoos and so on and so forth. But like I said, the best thing for me, or the greatest thing, has been seeing the kids express themselves and come into realization and acceptance of themselves. That was the
Great.
biggest.
And that's a great word, acceptance. You know, you got to be
Yeah,
accepted of yourself and not try to have other people affirm who you are. And that's a lot of things what our kids don't understand. You know, out there with
yeah,
social media, they want to try and put themselves out there, but there's no
yeah.
substance with that. Not that everything's bad on social media, but that
Hmm.
self-acceptance is a key thing, and that's a great word you just used. And Mike, you know, with you
Yo,
being out there doing so much. So projects that we have not, I mean, we have seen or have not seen, so that you have been involved with. So, and like you said, you spoke about some of the challenges. You talked about dealing with the youth, but what have we seen that's your work? I mean, I know you've been in Europe a while, so give us a little history on that aspect of it. So if I walk the street tomorrow, I'm like, yeah, that's Mike right there. So
well, as for the graffiti, I'm still trying to, figure out when I'm gonna go over to the Slot Talk, paint me a wall, and then do me a piece, right?
all right.
I'm gonna do it. I just don't want to go over nobody else's stuff, but I see somebody got some whack stuff up there. I'm gonna go over it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no
Hot
doubt.
110. You know what I mean? But
Okay.
all in all, nah. I mean, I'm right now. I'm doing the Chameleon Vision, right? The International Chameleon Vision,
Wow.
short for IC Vision, right?
Okay.
I'm doing that. That's gonna come out soon. I have two projects. I have my regular project, which I build my catalog and I throw that on SoundCloud. They can hear and see the art that I put up there because every song has a logo.
Okay.
As for the Vibe Masters, we're gonna come out with that official with video, Spotify, the whole 9 yards.
Wow.
It's all the same, but it's just that it falls on a different project. That's all. I still be talking about music against the racist system, but and mercifully adjusting righteousness scientifically. So that's both spelling out Mars.
Oh
And every
man.
year I'll probably come out with something that spells out Mars, but it's positive. But it's
Okay.
basically a positive thing. Some people
Okay.
look at the logo and think that it's violent because they got flying guillotines on the turntable, stuff like that. It's a fantasy thing. I mean, hip hop
So
is fantasy. It started off with Waterbed Kev. You know what I'm saying? Nobody had no waterbed back then. You know what I'm
okay.
saying? But
Could
eventually he got one. You know what I mean?
that
98 Regency, stuff like that. But bottom line is this. Um, when I'm in the street and I meet people, they see I got my little Zulu medallions on it, the way I dress and stuff. They may come up to me and ask me stuff like that. Oh, what's
right.
going on with you? Da 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 da. Da. The bottom line is this: I'm a walking billboard. I'm here to teach. I'm here to show people you can be yourself and stand up for who you are. Stand up for your family. Stand up for your country, your rights, and everything. I'm most definitely stand up for your rights. Don't let anybody crap all over you, and do what you're supposed to do,
That's
and just
good.
be yourself. And the bottom line is, stop trying to take other people's countries, man. This war shit is bugging me the hell out, man. Like I knew it was gonna come because I'm a visionary,
Right.
but I didn't want it to come because now I'm seeing little people die, babies die, all kind of people dying. It's ridiculous.
Yeah,
It's just ridiculous.
it is it's hard to see how, this stuff is going, and it's 2022, and time should be changing, but I guess with
Mhm.
time you never know, and that's what power does to you. People have particular power, they want to control everything rather than understanding that power concedes nothing without demand,
Mhm.
so
Power and love. What
yeah,
about the power
power
and
is
love?
love. But I want to ask you again, Mars, what does that mean again?
It means first when it first came out, it means music against the racist system. That means
Ah,
the system
okay.
that's racist, that bullies, the mobs, that looks at the fat people, the skinny people, the disabled people, the
Uh-huh.
people, the poor people, the homeless people,
Okay.
whoever
Great.
is that's racism in generally speaking. Looking at somebody and not trying to help them, but crapping on them. You know what I mean?
I
And
got you.
now in this year, 2022. It means mercifully adjusting righteousness scientifically. So,
Wow.
in other
Mhm.
words, I'm going to adjust righteousness with scientifically with my music, my words by far, my words. So the music is obscure and the words is bizarre. And the
Okay.
way I put the poetry together is spoken word, is a little bit of rap, is a little bit of DJ announcement type style,
Okay.
all mixed up to one that makes me a storytelling poet MC.
Right.
You see what I
Okay.
mean?
Well, that's great.
And that right there, that scientific part of all that mixture, hopefully, hopefully one day help somebody. If it can't help the whole world, just help somebody.
Great.
You know what
Great.
I'm saying?
Okay.
Opposed to mumble rap, I'm not knocking anybody because I wasn't born in that time frame. And then when I was where our Sugar Hill Gang was looked upon as a fad and that would not last long.
Okay. I
But you
got
see
you.
where it went.
Perfect. So
All
so
right.
AZ so AZ
Mhm.
so what's next for Universal Brothers? I know you got some stuff. I can see it in your eyes. You got some things going on. So what's next for you guys in the future here?
Well, currently I'm teaching meditation classes.
Wow.
Outside of that, me and the fellows are working on music and continuing to refine what it is that we do and what we represent. It's a lot of
Okay.
charading going on, and
Okay.
people attempting to create division amongst humanity.
Right.
And the thing is all this chaos is desperation. Whenever I mean, it's just like a pimp in the game. When the pimp ain't got no more game, he can't talk no more, he can't spit no more lies, he resorts to violence. That's because he ain't got no more game to use.
Right.
So they attempt to force things where, of course, these are acts of desperation.
Okay.
And the structures or powers that were, if you will, they're very desperate right now because humanity is starting to see through a lot of the charade. And if anything, people such as myself and Mike and those on the creative end of the spectrum who kind of been speaking from their heart all this time,
Right.
will
Word.
have a strong place in the forefront because this is something that humanity is going to be attempting to catch up with as everybody discovers their individuality and
Exactly.
embrace more confidence in the way in which they decide to, live their lives and express themselves. So, of course,
Okay.
seniors and OGs in the self-expression game will have that front spot. So, of course, it's almost, I mean, of course, with all the COVID and so on and so forth, this is just giving us an opportunity to develop and refine our work. And
Word.
once things present themselves and open up, of course, we'll be the forerunners of that. And that's what's next. It's just now us refining our message and putting it out there and allowing the people waking up from the deep slumber to enjoy what it is that we have to offer. So,
Well, that's
Preach,
good.
brother, preach.
That's yeah, that's good. That's good to know. I'll definitely be looking out for you guys and your work, and putting an ear to the ground, hear those footsteps. I know you
absolutely.
guys be out there doing what you do. And Mike, the same question for you. So, what does the future look like with upcoming projects for you? Something that we'll be able to expect to see out there. So, when time to listen, we know that's you because you
Well,
putting
you're
your
gonna
heart
know
and
it's me,
soul
even though I
into
got 1,000 names. You know what I'm saying?
it.
But
Right.
once this Quincy Jones studio gets put up and 80 tracks is flowing like crazy, I'm trying to do some orchestra type, melodic, crazy music that nobody never even heard before. I mean, I'm already doing some weird stuff now, right?
Okay.
But I'm gonna
Okay.
make it even more weirder. With 80 tracks, I can go a long way.
Great.
And
Great.
shout out to my man Go T Mac T. And
Okay.
it's just the fact that the Vibe Master is gonna hit the scene and hit it pretty hard. And it's gonna
Great.
be like those songs nobody never heard before. I have a whole catalog of songs from just that is strict rules. Like, he don't want me to play this, that, and the other. No, nobody let hear that stuff, which is good because I'm
Okay.
letting you hear something so nobody can be surprised. Like, oh, Mike does that now. No, I've been doing it, right? But my
Okay.
thing is this: I speak from the heart. I make the stories from the real. I listen to a little bit of Idiot Box with the news and stuff. But I mean, you get a little bit and you teach, and you teach, and
Good.
you teach, and you teach. I just
That's
want
good.
the future, which is the children, right, to prepare themselves for the unknown.
Okay.
Because you, me, and AZ can't sit here and say what's going to happen. We don't know
No,
what's going to
we
happen.
can't. We
You
can't.
said that here we are in 2022, and look what's going on.
Right.
Exactly.
Right. Well,
So it's hard to say what's going to happen. So prepare them for the unknown. So I put a little humor, I put some seriousness so they don't think I'm really preaching to them. But at the same time, I'm putting that into the story, making it a little funny too, you know what I'm saying? Interesting. If you smoke weed, you might find it intriguing per se. But needless to say, right? Um, I can only tell you that Curtis Blow, my deep family, a friend of mine, he told me that when he heard my first demo in 2016, he said that I sound like X-Clan, Parliament Funkadelic, George Clinton. So that's the best thing an icon could possibly tell me
okay.
that could keep me going on, right?
Great.
And that with that combination, yeah, red, the black, the green, baby. You know what I mean?
Okay. Perfect. Well, and again, I mean, I've known you guys for a while, and to hear this philosophy and of the art and your craft, it's amazing. So, but I really, really appreciate you guys being here at the chair today. And I'm looking forward to another interview in the future after your projects has been out there in the street and people get to know. And, that's a great thing. So again,
Word.
I really appreciate this. Thank you, Mike. Thank you, AZ, for being here
Wow.
today. And for sure, keep up the good work. You know, make sure the vibes out there, like you say,
Absolutely.
AZ, just make sure the youth are, involved. And Mike, do what you do. And
Word.
hey, red, black, and green, right? So,
Red, black, and green, baby.
right, right.
Red, black, and
So,
green. You know what I mean?
right. Well, thank you guys, and thank you for being here on the chair. And I look forward to seeing you guys again in the future. Thanks a lot.
All
Love.
right.
Appreciate it. All
Thanks,
right.
Al. Love.
Peace.
Ciao.
Peace.
Ciao.